Hello, Merry Meet. I am a magical maven, and I am standing in the Pure Essence Wellness Center on 8th Street in Traverse City. And I'm going to talk to you today about Mercury retrograde. No, you don't have to hide under your covers during Mercury retrograde. I'm going to give you some tips, some do's, some don'ts, and some specific information for this particular Mercury retrograde. So, let me introduce myself. I am Merrie the Magickal Maeven, and I love helping people find inner energies so they can have their most magical lives. And so tonight, talking to you about how to navigate through Mercury retrograde so you don't feel all frazzled and crazy. And I do have my notes, and don't worry if you don't want to take notes, you don't have to. I have a cheat sheet for you. My email address is down below. Just send me the email and say, hey, give me the notes from Mercury retrograde. Boom, I'll send them to you. While you're at it, please subscribe to the channel. So that way you'll be notified the next time a video comes out. And please give this one a like. So here we go. So if you're not sure, you've heard Mercury retrograde before, but what does that even mean? Mercury retrograde gets blamed for everything, and sometimes people they might not even know it, like they haven't even heard of that term. They might have a crazy day and say, is it a phone or something? What's going on? So Mercury retrograde can kind of get a bad rap, if you will. So what is Mercury and what is retrograde, right? What does that even mean? So Mercury, we've got the Greek and the Roman name for it. So Mercury is the Roman name for the planet. So it rules communication, thoughts, mental capabilities, your intellect. The planet is one of the fastest moving planets in the solar system. It's the name, originally it was Hermes. And so if you've heard of Hermes sandals, that's because Mercury ran really fast. And so he's the god of communication, messenger of the gods. So if you needed, before fax machines, before cell phones, the gods had to use Mercury to get messages from point A to point B. And the planet Mercury goes retrograde 3 to 4 times. And what's great, I mean, people are like, oh no, but it's really actually a good time for introspection. So let's talk about a little bit, what is Mercury retrograde? What does that mean? So about 4 times a year, Mercury appears to travel backwards. It doesn't, but just from our perspective here on Earth, it looks like it is. So there are times when it looks like it's going beep, 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 right? And so we call that retrograde. So what is that motion? The astronomical explanation is when it's orbiting in our solar system, every planet is going at different speeds. So imagine, if you will, like a NASCAR race. Some people are going fast, they're going slow, but they're still all going around in the same loop, right? That's a really good example. If you have a better example, by all means, share that below. So because of that, the illusion is at certain times the planet Mercury looks like it's going backwards. It looks like the car was going forwards, stopped, put it up in reverse, and started going backwards. Really not, but it's, again, respect from here on Earth. So we call particular retrograde motion, and this is the time where things feel all sorts of wacky. Communication is very sparse, or feeling because that's not what you said, stuff like that. So here's some general Mercury retrograde do's and don'ts. I'm gonna start with the don'ts. So don't freak out. Don't fear Mercury retrograde. Sometimes it can be a pain, totally honest with you, but don't focus on the worry. Don't focus on what you don't want. So you might have heard the phrase, worrying is praying for the things that you don't want. So don't focus on the things that are wrong, because then more things keep wrong, right? You don't want that. So every time you think, oh no, just your magic eraser, whoop, nope, not going to think like that. Okay. Don't put your life on hold. It can put something on hold until after Mercury retrograde, great. But if not, just keep going on with your life. Just know that there might be some roadblocks along the way. There might be some potholes, there might be some hiccups. But just as long as you're aware of that, as long as you anticipate it and have like a plan B, then you can work through it. Some people will say, well, don't start a job during Mercury retrograde. Well, how can you say to your future employer, well, just give me until such and such a day and I'll start the job? No, they'll find somebody else. And I can tell you that I have started a job during Mercury retrograde, and no, it didn't work out, but I promise you it had absolutely nothing to do with Mercury retrograde. It was just not going to work out at all. So, all right. If you can, don't buy plane, like tickets or plan big events if you can avoid it. Again, don't put your life on hold, but if you can rearrange things, great. Or if you can't, again, just plan, have a plan B, a plan C, maybe a plan F, just so you can get through. And just, if you expect things to, well, things might not go according to plan, and that's okay. If you have that attitude, then it's just not going to affect you as much as if you were like, oh, it's going wrong, right? So, and if you can avoid like something big, like opening a business or getting married, you can plan around that. You're planning ahead of time. Well, this is going to be my open date, or this is going to be my wedding date. If you can work around it, great. If not, again, just know that there might be a few hiccups along the way. All right, here's some. Do schedule extra time. Don't wait till the last minute to leave your house. Give yourself a little extra time, because chances are there's going to be something along the way. Do assume things that aren't going to go exactly as planned, but no big deal. You'll get through it. Do expect delays. Do give yourself a chuckle if you make a mistake, and just look at it as a way to learn a lesson. Do whatever you can to be patient, prioritize, stay calm. Do see this as a time to streamline, because you can pick what's really important and focus on that. And things that are not as important, just maybe let them go, at least for now. Do think of this as a time to update. You know how you'll get a system update? You can do a system update on your life, right? So this is a really good time for introspection and taking a look at, again, what's important, keeping that, what's not, and get rid of it. And then do reflect, get organized, review, rethink things, take the time to edit, and then take a look at what you really, again, what's really important, what you really need to focus on right now, because you can always come back to those other things later. So Mercury retrograde, we're going to start September 9th. Well, these are the official dates, but I'm going to get into before and after. But it starts September 9th, ends October 1st, but it's not like flipping a switch. Okay, so we're going to talk about lead up to, and then after, the after effects. So first we have the shadow phase. You may or may not have heard this before, and it might sound like, what's that? That's a weird thing. Think of it as like sunrise. So it's like at such a time the sun just whoop up. right? It gradually lighter, 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 and there now it's sunrise. Okay. So from August 22nd to about September 9th, things might start to feel a little wackadoodle. But it's not Mercury retrograde yet. That's because it's gearing up, okay? So Mercury retrograde, how many times I'm saying Mercury retrograde, okay? Put that in the comments below. So it's going to be in Libra from September 9th to September 23rd. So just talk about that chunk of time right there. So again, September 9th to September 23rd, we have Mercury retrograde in Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus. That's romance and values, abundance. And right now things are wackadoo with prices. That's already, people are already stressed out anyway. So just know that ahead of time, to know that it might feel compounded at this time. So Mercury retrograde in Libra asks us to think about, well, what obstacles are in our way? Okay, so we got to just take this time, realize what are the obstacles in the way, and start knocking them out of the way. So love, because we have love and money and our values. So love, how are you self-sabotaging? We all do it, no judgment. How are you selling yourself short? How are you holding yourself back? How are you keeping yourself stuck? And honestly, these are great questions for you to ask in any aspect of your life, okay? On money, how can you change your perception of money? Because if you have a bad feeling about money, I know somebody that completely gets stressed out about money, right? And I think we all do to a certain extent. And if we have bad background feelings that maybe we're not even consciously aware of, but they're still there. So this is a great time to look at those and see, well, how do I perceive money? I need to mend fences, make a better relationship with money. And so that way you can achieve more wealth, more luxury, right? On your values, how to bring in beauty and peace and art into your everyday life. All right, so retrograde during this time, it can bring awareness to what is and is not working in your relationships, not just romantic, like any relationships, familial, work, what have you. Expect a potentially serious conversation with these people. You might feel like you are not hearing me, you're not listening, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. You might feel like this is completely out of balance, out of whack. But just when you feel those things coming on, just go, okay, all right, it's Mercury retrograde. We probably need to take a breath here before we go any further and say something that you can't take back. All right. So if you're feeling misunderstood and out of balance, this is a really good time to try to walk right down the middle of the road. Okay. So the second phase of Mercury retrograde for right now is September 23rd to October 1st. And this is specifically for this time. All right, so next time, so first we had Venus, because that's Libra. Now we have Virgo, which is an earthy sign. This shifts our focus from our relationships to our thoughts, habits, good habits and bad habits, and our health. All right, so this is critical, analytical, thinking, detail-oriented. If you know a Virgo, I'm not a Virgo, but I do tend to have a few Virgo tendencies, like list making, right? So what you can do is ask yourself during this time, what areas of my life should I upgrade right now? Okay, what areas of my life should I just embrace and accept? So sometimes you just have to accept what is. This is what it is. I'm not sometimes you just have to trust. I don't know what's going on with the situation right now. Yes, it's frustrating, but the universe has a big plan and it's going to work out. And I can tell you, I have something in my life that I had something that it was all set in stone, had a start date to get things going, and last minute the person's like, nope. And I'm like, what? But so I just have to trust the universe knows what's going on, and it's going to work out. Okay. All right. So your mission during this particular time, again, September 23rd to October 1st, discover the fine line between self-development and self-consciousness, practicality versus cynicism, and dedication versus perfectionism, because perfectionism will just stop you in your tracks. You'll never get, because there's always something else you can tweak, right? So you'll never get done, whatever it is. So there's nothing against doing a good job at something, but if you're always trying to be perfect, it'll never get done. Okay, and I'm telling you from personal experience. Okay, so Mercury retrograde in Virgo. This is a time that you can step away from, like if you're constantly trying to self-improve and self-help and self-heal, this might be a good time for you to see yourself as you're a work in progress. Okay. And it's not like you don't have to be perfect. It's not like you have to be perfect at everything, because it's not even possible, right? So this is a good time for you to say, I accept myself for who I am, what I am right now, and that's okay. All right. So then Mercury retrograde, it's officially ends on the 1st, and it starts going direct on the 2nd. What does that mean? So we were in the car, right? And we're going beep, beep backwards. Now we're going to put it and drive and go forward again. So the other shadow phase, so we have the shadow phase leading up and the shadow phase leading afterwards. Think of that as leading up was like the sun rising, and then afterwards is the sun setting. So that's October 2nd to October 16th. So things you might be like, okay, Mercury retrograde is over. Everything's hunky dory now. Maybe not. Maybe it's still a little wackadoodle here and there. So here's some tips for you. Because you've got this cosmic window, you're challenged to think outside of the box, right? So ask yourself these questions. What mental blockages do you need to overcome? What can you work on? What can you work through as far as your inner constraints? Okay. What thought pattern or habit should you release right now? Because right now you're probably going to feel confusing, like you're stuck in a maze. Listen to your intuition, listen to your inner knowing, and unless you do that, like the fog is just not going to burn off. Okay. And this is a great time. If you feel like you need to take a break, do it. Okay. You don't need to constantly be fighting the obstacles. Okay, if you need to take a break, the obstacles are still going to be there, right? So take a breather, take a nap, rest, recuperate, come back stronger. All right. Be flexible. Be careful of your words. And then just try to go with the flow with all the change. All right. So I know that was a lot. If you took notes, great. I love notes. But if you didn't want to take notes, no worries. Let me know that if you want the cheat sheet, I'll send that to you. And please give this video a like. But if you didn't like it, that's okay. Let me know why. Tell me down below what you didn't like. And because honestly, the videos can always improve. Please, again, if you haven't already, subscribe. That way you get to know the next time there's a video coming out. And also it helps tell YouTube that people like this content, right? They like this information. Now, if you know somebody that can use this information, please share. Yes, videos are coming out every week on different subjects. So if you have a request, just comment down below if I can say it. And Until then, I say merry part and blessed be.